In this video, I'm going to teach you how you can become a better construction project manager by more effectively managing non-conformances. Non-conformances can increase project costs by 10% and delay the schedule by around 7% based on a study by the Construction Industry Institute. So, in an industry with razor-thin profit margins, non-conformances are a good place to put your time and attention and focus on effectively managing them to ensure your projects are a success. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be covering what a non-conformance report is, the difference between a non-conformance and a defect, the components of an NCR, how to prepare an NCR, and then finally go through an example NCR. Okay, so an NCR is a formal document used to identify, track, and resolve instances where a project does not conform to specified standards, requirements, or plans. So we've already defined a defect as any failure to meet the project requirements. An NCR is just a significant defect. So if a defect is significant to the operation of the plant, to the functioning of what we're building, or even commercially significant. So if it's a large dollar value item, we would turn that into a non-conformance report. So a defect is any failure to meet the project requirements, and defects can be both minor and major. Minor defects might be something like missing labeling on electrical cabling, while a major defect could be an incorrect cable installed that needs to be cut out and replaced, and it has a significant cost and prevents operation of the plant, so it's significant also to the operation. NCRs are a formal process we go through to capture significant defects. Depends a bit on the company and project specifics of how they choose to manage them. However, NCRs have the characteristic that they're significant. So going into more detail on this, you should raise an NCR when a defect is commercially significant, so it could have implications with the contract we have with our clients, or the contract we have with our subcontractors. It's going to take some time to fix, or it's going to have a significant cost. Additionally, we should raise a defect when we want to proceed with some sort of investigation, root cause analysis to work out why this defect has come up. Or we should raise an NCR when we want to change the project standard. So if because of we can't for whatever reason close out a defect the normal ways by just rectifying it to meet the original standard, if we want to raise an RFI to the design, change the original standards, then we should also create an NCR. NCRs have several different components. So first off, we'll need to identify and define the NCR, so talk about what the scope is and what happened. We'll then need to analyze the root cause, so work out what happened and what the underlying cause of the defect was. We'll need to work out how we're going to resolve the defect, and then we'll need to work out how we're going to prevent the same thing happening again. So first off, when we identify an NCR, so NCRs like defects will be identified during inspection and testing. So as we go through and complete our ITPs, if there's any failures to meet the project specifications, that'll create a defect. The significant defects become NCRs, or we could identify them through an audit. So we might go out and do systematic audits and checks of processes or products, and we could also identify NCRs like this. They can be identified by our client, by the contractor, or by subcontractors. So really anybody involved with or working on the project can identify NCRs. So the next component of the NCR is the analysis. We need to analyze what happened, why it happened, and what we can do to fix it. So we identify the cause of the NCR. We identify who's responsible. Now this is important commercially, correctly identifying the responsibility of rectifying the defect. Because remember, we said NCRs were significant defects, so there's significant cost and time associated with them, so appropriately identifying who is commercially responsible for fixing it is important. And we also want to identify, why did the NCR happen? Was it due to incorrect design drawings? Was it due to incorrect procurement of materials? Or was it due to incorrect workmanship? We then need to come up with a resolution for the NCR. So there's a couple of different things we could do, and depending on what we choose to do about the NCR will require different approvals from different parties. The first one, the easiest way to fix it would be to rework the defect to meet the original standard. we simply redo the activity to meet the original project specification. The second thing we could do is we could accept the defect as it is without repair, or we could repair it with concession. So we could repair it to meet a new different standard. These are different because number one, reworking to meet the original standard, we would need no change to the project requirements, which means we need no approval from the design or no approval from the client, because all we're doing at our own cost, we're fixing the defect to meet the original project specifications. Options 2 or 3, where we accept the defect as it is, or we repair it to meet a new standard, will require some level of rework to meet a new standard. In that case, we need to get approval from the client and approval from the designers to change the project specifications to ensure they're happy with it and to ensure they accept it. Okay, let's wrap up with going through an example of a non-conformance report. So this is the type of form you'd fill out when raising an NCR. We'll go through the different structure of the form and talk about the specific example NCR we're talking about. So this NCR was part of an imaginary project called the Western Road Project, and it occurred on 27th of May, 2021. So at the top, we're just filling out the details of the NCR, the facts, what happened, the relevant documents, all these sorts of things. So the NCR name was underbore, missing tracer wire, and the engineer responsible. The work package was the combined services trench, so installation of underground conduits, and the subcontractor was underboring solution. The design package and reference, so the drawings that documented the work that was being undertaken and any relevant standards and specifications. There's a relevant quality lot, so what quality lot was the work being undertaken under, and then there's a description of the NCR. So let's look at the description. So the standard design details for the underbore, as detailed in the drawing, show 300mm electrical conduits and one 100mm communications conduit. Additionally, a 5mm steel tracer wire was meant to be installed as part of the bore. However, underboring solutions, the contractor drilled the bore, pulled through the electrical conduits. However, they failed to install the tracer wire. The bore was sealed, they finished the work, and only after did they realize the tracer wire was missing. We also got it as a product NCR. So you can have a product NCR or a process NCR. Product NCR is a failure to meet specifications relating to the product we're delivering. Process NCR is a failure to follow process. So this is related to the product. So the product is the finished underbore. The design showed a steel tracer wire and we failed to install this. So what are we proposing to do about it? So we're proposing to repair with concession. So we're not reworking to meet the original standard, we're reworking to meet a new standard. And so this is something that would have to get approved by our client and the design team. So we're asking to install a 5mm tracer wire within one of the spare 100mm conduits. So the original design showed that the steel tracer wire was installed separately to the conduits. However, we're asking to install it within the electrical conduits, and we're giving an explanation for why this is okay to do and how we're going to install labeling as well to show why it's been done like this. We've got a cause of the NCR, which was people. The subcontractor failed to review the drawings properly, and the contributing cause was the contractor did not properly understand the design. The process improvements is that we're going to update our inspection and test plans to ensure that future underbores, we have a representative from our own team on site checking that this is done correctly. So we've got corrective action, what we're proposing to do about the defect. We've got gone through the cause, the contributing causes, and how we're going to improve processes in the future. We'd then take this NCR, we'd then submit it to the design team and the client to get their approval to ensure they're happy with doing it. Once they're happy with the proposed corrective actions, we then go out, physically do the works, close it off, and then we could successfully close the NCR. So through this process, you can see how we've encountered an issue with the installation, and we're going through a process to resolve this to ensure ultimately our client is happy with the product we're producing.